What does Iran's membership to the Shanghai Cooperation Organization mean? We've all heard of NATO, but there's another regional bloc that many believe could challenge the Western alliance someday. It's called the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or SCO, named after China's biggest city and where it was founded back in 2001. And now, 20 years later, Iran is set to become the group's newest member.
Now, with coordinating regional efforts to address security issues in Afghanistan a top priority, full membership has been approved. Tehran is hoping the move will increase its influence and open doors to economic opportunities.
The SCO is the world's largest regional organization, covering 1/3 of the Earth's landmass and 40% of its population. The Eurasian pact exports trillions of dollars of goods a year, accounting for more than 20% of global GDP. Founded as a multilateral organization, its original purpose was to focus on addressing regional development, security issues, and to combat terrorism, separatism, and extremism. Given that it's led by China and Russia, many analysts see it as a potential rival to NATO for power and influence. Founded with 6 member states, it has since expanded to 9, with Iran poised to be its latest member. The bloc will have a combined military force of more than 9 million troops and an annual defense budget of around $430 billion. And the group regularly conducts military drills.
The Peace Mission 2021, a counter-terrorism military exercise for Shanghai Cooperation Organization member states.
So why is Iran so eager to join? Hamidreza Azizi, a visiting fellow at the German Institute for International and Security Affairs, says Iran sees the SCO as a concert of non-Western great powers, and not as just another international organization. Iran is set to benefit economically as well, as it recently signed a 25-year cooperation agreement with China. But what does Iran bring to the table? According to the diplomat, Iran's accession to the SCO has raised its profile, and along with Pakistan, Russia, and China, they have the incentive, interest, and opportunity to use the SCO to establish a regional order. Iran's addition is also a big plus for maintaining stability in Afghanistan now that the Taliban has taken power following the chaotic US withdrawal. But its bid to join the SCO wasn't easy, mainly due to UN sanctions. Iranian MP Ahsan Arkani said Iran's membership will break the siege and economic sanctions imposed by the West. And according to Iranian analyst Abbas Aslani, Iran is subject to unilateral sanctions. This means that SCO members don't recognize those as international sanctions, and that's why they've accepted Iran's request for full membership. So in a way, the SCO is challenging US attempts to isolate Iran by allowing it to join. It will also be their first membership to a major regional bloc since the 1979 revolution. So at first glance, the SCO seems formidable, comprising 2 of America's most powerful adversaries, China and Russia. But if you look deeper, there are some weaknesses. First, 2 of its members, China and India, are bitter rivals. In fact, they've had recent skirmishes along their border that left dozens of soldiers dead. Another obvious contradiction is India and Pakistan being supposedly on the same team when they're usually at each other's throats. And the SCO is nowhere near as cohesive as NATO, which is more institutionalized, has a bigger defense budget, and better hardware. There's also Article 5, which is NATO's collective defense clause, where an attack on one nation is an attack on all. The SCO can't really be called a military alliance because it doesn't have this obligation to militarily defend a fellow member. But despite those shortcomings, the SCO still has to be taken seriously, because it seems this century will be one that's defined by alliances. Just last week, Australia, the US, and the UK launched a security initiative known as AUKUS to counter China's dominance in the South China Sea.
The deal will deliver nuclear-powered submarines to the Australian Navy to promote stability in the Indo-Pacific region, which has come under increasing pressure from China.
It severely damages regional peace and stability. This is a highly irresponsible act.
So it makes sense why Iran would want to join the SCO to decrease its isolation that's been mostly imposed by the US. And what better way to do that than joining a group that's led by America's biggest rivals?